Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the UMAC on the campus of Union High School for game number 4 of the Jenks Union basketball tournament, which will feature the HFC Warriors and the Union men's basketball team. Thanks for joining us on the Union Sports Network. Alongside Sarah Blakely, I'm Jim Douthit, and Sarah, we'll get into the amazing individual that you are and all of the accolades that you've had here at Union, but I want to start by talking about this team. Coach Garcia's team has been really Jekyll and Hyde this year. Their consistency is kind of their MO. They get a quality win against Sapulpa where they really didn't play very well in the first half for sure 2 nights ago. But as a coach and as a former coach, when teams are inconsistent, what do you want to preach to that team coming into a tournament like this?
So not only do we want to use that Sapulpa win to our advantage to kind of play into this tournament here, but I think it's important to regain some type of momentum as a team, and I think that really does start with the little things. That means hustling for those loose balls, crashing the boards, making the right passes, getting good ball movement, and better shot selections. We don't just want to jack out from the three-point range and then make that other team be able to push on their own press.
And Casey Jordan talks about it all the time. It seems like the NBA and these kids want to emulate what those guys do, and all of a sudden you get down by a handful of points and you want to start shooting threes thinking you got to make it up in one possession, and that's what we see in this team. Now for HFC, Coach Davis's team is 4-5. They're 1-1 in the Freelance Conference. They're coming off a 1-point loss against Stillwater, so they're used to playing the bigger schools. But being here in the UMAC and in this environment, is it change anything for HFC?
I think, just as a Union alum and a Union employee, stepping in this facility is always special. The lights just seem to be a little bit brighter here, and just with all the fans, that maybe not so much this season, but just having this kind of energy. And I think it's important for these teams that are visiting to come in and remember that it's still a basketball court. There's still 2 hoops. You play on a court every day. You practice. And so you kind of have to block out the crowd and stay focused into what you're doing.
So there you have it, folks. It's the HFC Warriors and Union coming up next on the Union Sports Network.
Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the John Q. Hammonds Arena on the campus of Union High School for the 2021 Jenks Union Invitational. From the boys bracket, we have Hoops for Christ and Union. First, let's meet our visitors, the Hoops for Christ Warriors. A junior, number 11, Daniel Martin. A senior, number 13, Levi Schrader. A sophomore, number 23, Tadrian Davis. A senior, number 30, Riley Banks. And a senior, number 33, Elijah Mason. Head coach of the Warriors is John Davis, assisted by Jonathan Veal. And now for your Union starting 5. At 6'2", a senior, number 0, Dayon Eremiah. At 6'1", a senior, number 2, Aaron Davey. At 6'2", a senior, number 4, Jediah Jones. At 6 foot, a senior, number 11, AJ Reed. And at 6'7", a sophomore, number 22, Trent Pierce. Head coach for Union is Rudy Garcia, assisted by Steve Geary, Mark Ritter, and Jonathan Washington. Union comes into tonight's contest with a record of 8-4, and they are currently ranked number 12 in Class 6A. Officials for tonight are Bobby Kelly, Mr. Rick Smith, and Mr. Scott Bryans.
Banks over to Martin. Martin back up high to Davis. And ball possession is something that Coach Davis is preaching early on. Nice little drive and a big block there, but lucky bounce and the Warriors get a restart. Inside, kick it back out. Can't do nothing there. They'll kick it back out again. And Banks will set it up. Banks down low to Davis. Inside, nice little move, and Banks has got two. Great ball movement early on for HFC, and they came to play, that's for sure. See what Union can set up, and as Davey will control it. He'll bark some orders and start giving some fingers where he wants his players to go. Jones will have it here. Jones inside to Jeremiah. Jeremiah kicks out to Pierce. Pierce for three. Can't get it to go. And the foul will be charged there. Dayon Jeremiah will get charged with the foul. And a good possession early on for Union, but they can't come away with the points that they need. What do you want to see differently there, Coach, or anything?
I think we just need to be smart, especially with making that foul,
Davey
all
with
the
the
way
steal.
down here.
Ahead to Reed, and Reed with a big jam. So we do get 2 points off a turnover. Nice little shot selection there. Can't get it to go. Reed, and it'll go out of bounds, and the ball will be awarded back to HFC.
I like the pressure Union is putting on HFC out here, over here in the corner, but they got to be willing to rotate quickly to get that help side.
Almost a steal by Jones. Jones has really stepped up his game this senior year for him. Didn't get a whole lot of playing time with the squad that Coach Garcia had last year, but Jones is getting some nice playing time this year. Davis gets two. Early on, this seems to be quite the competitive basketball as Pierce misses the jam, gets his own rebound, gives it to Reed. Reed will kick it out. And I'm laughing because Reed off the glass and gets his three. Pierce has been talking about trying to dunk it all year. And there he tried it and he missed it, but he gets his own rebound and we come away with some points. Do you want to see him showboating this early on?
I would rather him just go ahead and finish that regular layup, but that's just me with the girls basketball mentality. We don't have conversations about dunking.
What, never? Never? Do
Unless
you ever lower it?
Unless you're Brittany Griner or
Yeah,
Maya Moore, maybe.
That's a good point. We'll take a quick timeout. You're watching the boys bracket on the Union Sports Network. Welcome back in. We're just getting started here in the first quarter, 5:05 remaining. 7-4 Union on top, and kind of a sluggish start for Union, but they've come alive now. There's a foul, reach in on Reed, and early on like this, you want to see our players being aggressive, but would you say something to Reed about, hey, you don't need to make that foul at that point?
Or we're making 2 fouls in the first quarter, 90 feet from the other team's basket. That's really going to be an issue here. Yes, put pressure, but give them that hand, give them that distance to allow a cushion for you to make the right move with your feet.
HFC will control. Schrader will hand it off to Martin. Martin and Schrader were a little too close. Get it back. Nice drive, baseline. Rejected there, but the foul is going to be called on Jones. And the fans behind us clap their applause for the HFC Warrior team as Elijah Mason will step to the line and shoot 2. Coach Davis calls a couple of his players back down to his side, give them some orders about what he wants them to do. Banks and Martin will join the group again. Martin will get one of the 2. 7-5 now Union as Reed will push it up the floor. Inside, boy, missed a wide open Jones cutting to the basket, but they'll give it to Pierce. Pierce will step up high, back to Reed. Reed over to Jeremiah. Jeremiah steps away, jumper can't get it to go. Rebound there, HFC, and they'll come away. A little bit better possession, maybe a little, could have waited for a little bit better shot selection, as you mentioned.
This goes back to that comment you made about them wanting to be NBA players. I think instead of fading away on that shot, that you finish straight up and down and you have that momentum towards the basket. You really see them trying to emulate those, heroes of theirs. But those heroes spend hours and hours in the gym working on that specific shot, not just in the moment, I'm going to fade away.
Right. None of them had to go to 6 hours worth of class today and then have to come and, play a game until 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
Inside, nice little spin move there. Boy, Elijah Mason is on fire for them. Running and gunning there, and Jones will go to the line and shoot two. Now, this is one of the things that Casey and I have talked about many a times, is that when Union turns into playing this, having this street ball mentality where they've got to run and gun and try to dunk and try to shoot the threes, this is where they kind of seem to get out of the rhythm of the game that Coach Garcia wants them to play. So if you're a coach and you know they're not playing the kind of game that you expect them to play, what are you thinking right now? We're early on, but is it something that you want to call a timeout immediately and say, okay, guys, stop? What are we going to do?
I think the score right now is okay and kind of see how this plays out. But absolutely, if they start getting away from this and they start jacking up shots, that is going to cause a problem for the Union team. You take a really long three, that's going to be a really long rebound. Therefore, the other team's going to be able to push that out and make a run on us.
Martin to Davis, foul there. Jeremiah's got two. Jeremiah will have two, and Coach Garcia's looking to make a change here. Looks like Trey Morris is going to come in. Jeremiah will take the long way to the bench.
I think what's going to be important for Union on the offensive end is being patient and really getting that ball movement, get into a rhythm, and eventually they should see their opponent make one mistake, and that's when we'll get that opening.
And there it is. Davey with the steal. Nice little move straight to the hole, and he gets the two. Nice steal and finish by Aaron Davey. You said that young man has grown up quite a bit. You've seen it.
Yes, I did have Aaron in my science class back in the day, and he's definitely much taller now, and still lanky, though.
Yeah, that hasn't changed. He hasn't put any weight on at all. I had him as a sophomore as well. And he's got a nice little haircut going, though.
Great to see him be a leader out here on the floor.
He is that for sure. Now Jones. Jones back high to the aforementioned Davey. Inside to Reed. Reed looks for the cut but can't do it. He'll spin, and a jump ball called. Mason gets the jump ball. Possession arrow goes to Union.
I really like the cuts they have going through the paint here. And again, just being patient and waiting for the right time to hit that cutter.
Austin Basie checks in for the Warriors. Now Reed will control it here. He'll give it over to Morris. Morris back to Davey. Davey will control here. Give it to Reed. Reed will step back for the three. Can't get it to go, and not the best shot for Reed. You're normally a little bit closer on those shots than that. Davey playing a little defense now. Banks control it. Over to Basie. Basie drives. Can't get it to go. Rebound there. And Morris will take it up. Morris to Pierce. Pierce with a little dipsy doodle move. Can't get it. Anything happen, so he'll give it to Davey. Davey will try out his hand. Over to Morris. Morris tipped out of bounds. Last touch by HFC and Elijah Mason. Nagy checks in now. We've seen some bursts of greatness out of Nagy for sure. Cody Nagy has come in off the bench and just really performed well for Coach Garcia. Nice move there by Pierce. He can't get it to go. And there you go. Nagy right away gets the rebound, kicks it out. Can't get that to go by Jones. And it's 11-9 with 1:45 remaining in the first. Full court press. There's a steal by Jones. Jones will take it straight into the hoop, and he'll get fouled. Absolutely, much to the chagrin of a couple of fans behind us. On a play like that, you've got 3-on-2, you want to see your player take it right to the hole, or would you rather see him kind of cut back and slow down a little bit and set it up?
So in that 3-on-2 scenario, you kind of want the ball handler to make the two defenders choose who they're going to essentially defend and have them make that decision early. So therefore, when you make that ball movement, they're going to have to really, really rotate and cover the other people. And then hopefully by then we're closer to the rim, one nice pass, and we're to the bucket.
Kenny steps in. Davey goes over to get a drink of water. So Neil Kenny, the senior, for Coach Garcia, gets a little playing time here early on. Nice hands by Nagy, and this is something that you'll see the longer that Nagy's on the floor, Sarah, is this young man, hands, he is all over the place. There is absolutely no quit. Not that there's any quit in any of these players, but Nagy just seems to have another gear, if you will, when he comes off the bench. Nice little move inside, big rebound there. And I tell you what, boy, HFC strong in there. Schrader for sure. And that was, again, the boys need to be stronger under the hoop, especially when only up by one early on.
You know, you can be 7 foot tall, but if you don't block out traditionally, it doesn't really mean too much.
Well, and it seems like a lot of the times our boys stand a little flat-footed underneath. And so, gosh, if I've got the size of a Trent Pierce, just a jump, you're going to get a little bit of a jump. You're going to get over every kid on the floor, it seems like.
And that goes back to putting in that effort on those little things that will then create that momentum for your team.
3 ball, and just like that, Elijah Mason drains the 3, and HFC goes up by 2.
This is where you mentioned HFC is used to this type of pressure at big schools.
Trey Morris, nice, and he'll tie it at 14, but obviously a whole lot different than what we saw with the girls. They've got a much deeper bench, and again, what we talked about early on is they're used to playing a team like Stillwater, a much bigger school with a lot more talent. They're used to the pressure that Union's putting on here. There's the steal by Nagy, and I mentioned him. Nice little steal and bucket.
You love seeing that type of attitude from a kid that's a 6-man coming off the bench. Sometimes your team just needs a burst of energy.
And there he is again. Nagy knocked it away. Pierce knocked it back in, but there was, unfortunately, right back to Banks. And quite the chatter from a handful of the HFC fans behind us. This is the part of the job that Casey and I enjoy probably the most. Being parents, being former coaches. It's funny to sit here and listen to shoot the ball and do this and do that. And I think back when Darian played hockey, you happened to sit in front of us a couple of times and watch Dee play hockey. And yeah, I was a little vocal from time to time. It's hard not to be when you're cheering for your kid. 16-14, Union on top by 2. We're through the first quarter. We're back in 30 seconds or so. You're watching Union basketball on the Union Sports Network.
For more than 50 years, Central States Orthopedics and Eastern Oklahoma Orthopedic Center have been the area's leading orthopedic and sports medicine providers. And now, we've joined forces as Advanced Orthopedics of Oklahoma. One name, one focus. Excellent orthopedic and sports medicine care. Together, we serve as the team physicians for almost every high school and university in the region. We are the area's leading expert for work-related injuries, and our surgical hospital is the only 5-star rated hospital in Tulsa. Advanced Orthopedics of Oklahoma. Come see why we're better together.
Welcome back inside the UMAC. Second quarter action. Union on top, HFC 16-14, and the Warriors team showing quite a lot of fight and playing very, very well early on. Mason gets his own rebound. He'll put it back up, and the foul there. I believe Trent Pierce is going to get called for the foul. And Elijah Mason has been almost a one-person wrecking crew. As Mason's got 6, he'll go to the line and shoot 2. 6 team fouls now on Union and only 2 for HFC. So that's got to be discerning for Coach Garcia.
These two teams are really neck and neck, though. Looking at these stats from the first quarter, we had our field goal attempts, 12 for Union, but actually just sinking about 6 of those. And same thing for the HFC, 6 and 11.
Now Nagy up ahead as Mo Rennie gets some playing time. Pierce gets it inside, and he'll get the 2. Now Mo Renty in on the floor with Kenny, Pierce, Nagy, and Morris for Union. Nagy playing some good defense here. Looked like a little double dribble, and it was. Turnover by Austin Basie. Daniel Martin checks back in, the junior for Coach Davis.
Really like to see Union take care of the ball here and capitalize on a bucket, even if we have to be patient a little bit longer.
A slow start has been kind of another MO. We talk about inconsistency, a slow start. I will tell you that even though we beat Sapulpa, I think it was by 16, we were only up by 2 at half. And just really just inconsistent play by Union. And there you go with a turnover again. And like you said, you wanted to see them do something with the ball here.
When you think back to having Union being, slow starters here, we really can't afford that. If you've coached basketball at any level, I'm sure you've heard this saying, is that you can't win a ball game in the first quarter, but you can sure as heck lose one.
There you go. And quickly to the hole is is Mo Renty. He'll get the foul and get to shoot 2. The 6'2" senior. Rennie off the bench. Reed will check back in, and Trent Pierce will check out. Get a hand from Jediah Jones on the bench. Now Rennie misses 2, and those are, again, from the charity stripe. That's one of those things you cannot miss, especially in a tight game like this early on.
If that's one thing you've worked on since you were an 8th grader, it would be free throws. We got to sink those.
Now Basie will take over here inside to Mason. Mason is a kid that we're going to have to start figuring out how to shut down, because he has been a lot of offense for HFC. There's some nice hands by Reed. Great pass on the cut inside.
I like seeing them cut aggressively right there.
Davis with the nice 2. Great pass inside by Martin. HFC's got it knotted at 18. Now Nagy up high. Nagy. Nagy over to Reed. Reed surveys the floor, tries to get some people going. He'll cut to the basket, can't get it to go. Rebound there, and no foul. And really, it seems like these refs are kind of letting them play. It's kind of a different, definitely different than what we saw during the girls' game. There's a drive, can't get it to go. Up ahead. Nagy 2-on-1, he'll shoot it, and there is a foul. Daniel Martin to get charged with a foul there. I'm glad to see Nagy take that to the hole. It was 2-on-1, and like you said, that's one of those positions where you're making, from what you told me, you're making that defensive player make a decision.
Yeah,
right?
We want them to commit, and then therefore have to stick with their decision and their consequences at that. It's interesting, you hear us talk about Union and what we wish to see, and it almost seems like HFC is doing all those things that we're wanting to see out of our Union team. And even right there in that last few possessions when that cut and that great pass, they're waiting for that time. They're waiting for that opportunity, and they're not trying to force it down in the paint.
Davian Jones checks back in. Still knotted at 18 with 5:21 remaining in the second. Nagy will get one of the 2. Now a full court pressure. There's Jones with the nice hands, but tipped right in there. Make them work all the way up the basket, or up the court for sure. And there's a foul. Foul on Nagy. Nagy not happy with that, especially early on. Now they go to the charity stripe, and they get to shoot 1-on-1, and this is kind of early in the second quarter to be shooting one and ones, I would say, Coach.
Yeah, it definitely is, and this is where we're talking about playing smart. Yes, I love the pressure that Union's giving, but we also have to be aware of where we are game-wise. Clock aware is what we always say as coaches, what's going on, and understanding that we still have 5 minutes of play left and we're now 1-1. We've got to now change our mentality on how aggressive we need to be.
Nice move there, can't get it to fall. And this is kind of that street ball stuff that we saw against Sepulpa, and I know you weren't here for it, but definitely saw against Sepulpa. And timeout, Coach Davey, and you know what? Coach Davis has got his kids in this game, and at this point, if you're Coach Garcia, what are you telling your boys?
So I was honestly hoping a coach of one of the teams was going to call a timeout, and honestly, we just really need to collect as a group and come back together and say, what is our task on the offensive end? Make sure everyone knows their spots, knows their assignments, and to be patient and look for a good shot selection instead of forcing it. On the defensive end, I'd really like to see them play clean defense and get a good block out.
There you have it. There you have it. So coming out of the timeout, 19-18, 4:53 remaining. If you're just joining us, welcome into the Union Sports Network alongside Coach Sarah Blakely. I'm Jim Douthit. We appreciate you joining us here on the Union Sports Network, and I'll give you a little information about our other broadcast times here coming up pretty quick, maybe on our next break. HFC takes over. Banks will quarterback this play here. Almost a steal there. Can't get it. The steal inside. Boy, howdy. And Mason has got 10 now of HFC's 20 points, so he's half of their offense right now. Davey inside to Jones. Jones looks to push and gets the roll in, and they'll stay with the full court press. They'll stay with the full court pressure. That's kicked out of bounds. Appears to be awarded back to HFC. No argument from Coach Garcia, so that must have been a good call.
I would assume so. Coach Garcia is not shy about that. He'll let us know if he disagrees with it.
For sure. As a matter of fact, we joked, Casey and I joked last timeout read again. We joked real quickly about Coach Garcia. He didn't seem to smile at all during the first half of the Sepulpa game. Matter of fact, I think it was somewhere in the fourth quarter we finally saw him crack a smile, and we mentioned it. It's like, goodness gracious, he was just not happy with how his boys were playing, and it shows.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
It showed for sure. So coming up the rest of the weekend, we'll continue to broadcast the Union side of the Jenks Union Invitational Tournament. As you can see, all the action from the UMAC live and free here on the Union Sports Network. So those of you who follow this HFC team, Mustang or Edmond Santa Fe, for the boys bracket, you can watch your team play here on the Union Sports Network. And the broadcast times and the bracket can be followed, or found, I should say, on our Twitter account, at Union_athletics. Again, that's our Twitter account, at Union_athletics. So talking about bracketology here for this this tournament, if you would. Winner plays Edmond Santa Fe tomorrow at 5:30. Loser goes on to play Mustang tomorrow at 8:30. That's p.m.
I really miss hearing that term, bracketology. There we go. We didn't get to hear that at all this last March.
Boy,
I was really sad we missed out on that.
I missed out on that, and some great changes coming to that nice three there by Davey. Changes coming because I believe, from what I understand, every game's going to be played in Indianapolis.
Okay.
So they're utilizing, and if you've been to Indianapolis, tons of hotels, tons of places for these kids to play, but it'll be interesting to see how they utilize the different areas in Indianapolis. Can you imagine Duke playing at a small venue like, I don't know, a high school? I don't know.
Absolutely not.
But it'll be interesting to see what they put together in Indianapolis.
Just this last possession that Union had on that breakaway, that's something they should have capitalized on right there. And you see that they were trying to do just a little too much. And I think that maybe that might be their young mindset right here of noticing, okay, it didn't happen on the first two. We might need to pull back, recollect as a group, and then attack offensively with a play.
Davey inbounds to Jones. Jones back to Davey, and Davey will bring it up the floor quickly. Pushing the pace, it seems to be here, is Union. Three for Jones, can't get it to go, and rebound there by Elijah Mason, and that Elijah Mason young fella has been all over the place for Coach Davis and his squad. There's a nice feed inside and finish by Levi Schrader. Davey back down 24-22 now, Union on top. only by 2. Inside to Pierce. Pierce can't get it to go, and he can't get his own rebound. Mason with another board. Go ahead,
Last
Coach.
2 possessions, we've had some good looks, and I wasn't upset by either of those shots, but we really just got to make those buckets.
Got to make them finish. They're going to work it around the top outside the three-point line. They'll drive. Inside, can't get it to go. And there's the hustle that we really wanted to see around the boards for sure. Now Jones. Jones inside, Pierce cutting to the basket. He'll stop, kick it back out to, and for 3, can't get that to go. And again, 3 times down the floor, and Union comes away without any points.
And this is where HFC really needs to capitalize on this opportunity. 3 times, no score. This is where they can start pulling away and make their run. And I really like number 33, Elijah Mason, and his aggressiveness to the hole and then the finish.
Just baseline and just slam that home, and that brings the HFC Warrior fans to their feet. But Jones turns around with a big 3.
What an answer.
And that's what you want to see. That's how you want to answer it for sure. 27-24 with 1:45 now remaining. And the pace of this game is flat picked up. Davey gets the steal to Pierce. Pierce in, and a nice finish there. A little alley-oop. Not quite the poster point that we would expect, but
hey, but that's okay, right? Just go make that shot.
There you go. Davey gets charged with the foul there, and he's smiling a little bit. Not really happy about probably that foul off the ball. That's his first foul, but it's 8 team fouls now. One and one. 1 and 1 for Caleb Veal here, the junior for Coach Davey's team. Veal will get the first to go.
Got to give it to number 12. All right, Caleb Veal, you just mentioned that making that first shot in the one-on-one is crucial.
Especially because he's new into the game and really has come into the game and, hey, go to the foul line and shoot. So he's came to play. Up ahead to Reed. Reed with a nice drive, but can't get it to go. And it looked like as he was going up, he couldn't decide whether he was going to dunk it or he was just going to lay it up. And, man, that's a tough position for him to be in, but Davey comes away with a steal. Davey inside to Reed. Reed will bring it back, then he'll cut back baseline. Pass to Pierce. Pierce, little turnaround jumper, and he nails it. Nice little turnaround fadeaway there for Pierce. It was kind of an ugly possession, though, Coach, for Union.
Don't think he was ready there at the first part of it.
Jump ball be awarded to Union. Trey Morris will take it out of bounds. We're 52 seconds away from halftime, 31-25. Thanks for joining us here on the Union Sports Network. Davey gets the ball, and he'll bring it back in, try to set it up. Giving Reed some orders, telling him what to do. Now to Pierce. Pierce will look to do some stuff. Over to Reed. Reed now.
Walking away with this last possession is going to be important.
And there it is, nicely done. But you're leaving some time for the Warriors to come back, but there's a steal by Reed. Reed to Jones, and Jones lays it in, and that's the kind of defense that we need.
I think that's the spark that they've been looking for all game.
This full court pressure's finally getting there, and there's another steal, but he steps out of bounds. Great job there by Trey Morris, but he just can't keep his feet in bounds. 14-4, and finally a 10-point lead, and with all due respect to Coach Davis, this is kind of the lead I expected our Union boys to have early on, but Coach Davis has got his kids ready to play, that's for sure.
It's almost like we just flipped a switch or someone said the magic word and said, okay, let's go play ball now.
Right. But as this tournament drags on, it's not really something that you can do. You can't come out early on and play sluggish.
No, they're definitely going to have to fix that after this game and moving into tomorrow if they want any chance of making that championship game.
1.7 remaining. Davey shoots the three. No. I was hoping. I was hoping for sure, Coach. So Coach Davis going into his locker room, his boys have played really, really well. What's the conversation he has with them?
I think that they need to clean it up just a little bit offensively. They were making really good decisions early on, and now they're trying to force. And then, of course, you look at the fouls right now. Union has 8 team fouls, of course. That'll clear at the half. But, you know, looking at their team fouls, so they really weren't in too much trouble defensively there. I'd like them just to see a little bit more aggressive, maybe get some steals off of our passes.
And so they've played clean, so that's a positive that you're going to draw off of. Now, for Coach Garcia, it seemed that the full court pressure started to work towards the end of that half. Is that something you're going to come out with maybe at the beginning of the third quarter?
I think with this 10-point lead that he might have the luxury to implement that. But I think the reason why this pressure has started to work is because all 5 players are now all in and making those changes. If one person slides over on this press and leaves another man open and no one's willing to make that effort to sprint over and cover, that's where HFC is finding those gaps, and that's where they're able to break it pretty easily.
There you have it. 9 minutes remaining here in this halftime. You guys go get your drinks, run to the restroom. She's Sarah Blakely. I'm Jim Douthit. We're back in about 8.5 minutes here on the Union Sports Network. Hi, everybody. Welcome back for second half action. Inside the UMAC, it's game 4 of the Jenks Union tournament. We got the HFC Warriors and your Union men's basketball team. Thanks for joining us on the Union Sports Network alongside Sarah Blakely. I am Jim Douthit, and I want to say a quick hi to a buddy of mine, Bill Cox, who's watching us here for the first time on the Union Sports Network. Bill, big shout out to you. Appreciate you watching. Hope you're enjoying, and all of you enjoying what you're watching here tonight. As at the break, there's the big steal by Jeremiah up ahead to Reed. Reed goes in, and it's a block and a foul. Reed that time looked like he knew what he wanted to do when he went to the hole. But talk about, quick, Coach Blakely, what you saw there on the stat sheet that was kind of driving you nuts.
Just looking at our totals here for field goal attempts and actually makes here, Union in that second quarter, 3 for 8. And we have the HFC Warriors and 1 for 1. So it really shows that finishing our layups are popping up on this sheet and making a big statement, especially out here on this floor when we could have a much bigger lead.
That was something Andy Irwin came down and joked with us about, hates the fact that, Union's a slow starter. They're a great team, but they start slow. And in these tournaments, again, it's something you and I talked about. You really can't start slow like this. Now they'll kick it out, HFC. Shot partially blocked there. Jones picks it up. He'll push it up the floor, up ahead to Jeremiah, and Jeremiah will just neatly lay it in, and that's what you want to see.
Absolutely.
Nothing showboating, just get 2 and come back and play defense. Now outside, Banks for 3, can't get it to go. Rebound there, Warriors. They'll slow it down as Martin recoups. There's another steal by Reed. Now Reed in, and he'll just lay it in again. Now this is the kind of defense, and here's the team that I was trying to describe to you as Jones with the steal, and he'll slam it home. And this, Coach Blakely, is the Union team that we expect to see.
Right, and I really liked how Davey played clean defense right there and didn't go reach and get out of position. He forced that guy to make that pass, which was just being baited on the other side of that floor for that steal and that beautiful finish.
There you go. So that's what we're talking about. This is the team that we expected. One of the things, though, is there a way to correct, put your coach hat on for a second, is there a way to correct a team that traditionally is a slow starter? Is it something it's happening so you don't panic as much as a coach? Or what's kind of the mindset there?
I think really that's a conversation that you have openly with everybody on the team. Hey guys, what's going on? What do you feel? How is their pregame warm-up? How is their shots feeling? Are they not feeling confident? Do they not get, warm enough? Or we can even go further back into what's their pregame look like in the locker room? Do they need to get more hyped? Are they too hyped and then, out of energy by the time they come out here? And so those are a lot of things that you got to pick out.
So pregame, yeah, and pregame, everybody has their own pregame rituals. I had them. You probably had them when you played. Did you? What was your pregame? What was your go-to ritual? Do you remember? When you were playing?
When I was playing, I would just put my headphones on, and then, beats were just now coming out, so it was like, I couldn't afford those, so I just had, like, the Bose ones, and now those are really big, but you put your headphones on, you listen to your song.
What was your go-to jam?
Man, I don't know if I want to say that.
Okay,
but,
maybe not, okay.
Last Resort, Papa Roach gets a little good, like, punk in there.
There you go.
But, yeah, it's good.
There you go, Papa Roach.
If anybody is listening for my Instagram feed, they're judging me so hard right now.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Now Davey pushes it up the floor. I know Bill Cox will listen to a little Papa Roach. There's Jones with a nice drive and the finish. And back to that full court pressure, it looks like, for Coach Garcia. Sure enough, he's going to make HFC work the entire floor. They're going to run out of time. They quickly get it up. Lucky there. 10 count was really, really close. I think I heard 8. There's the takeaway, Davey. There's Jones for 3. Can't get it to go. Pierce with a nice tip. And Davey does save it, but right to HFC, and he'll drive. And a nice finish there by Josh Goad, the junior, for the HFC Warriors. That was a beautiful job by him.
I want to see them make a good decision here. Not
now
force
Pierce,
a shot.
Like that.
Yep.
Block, out of bounds. Ball will be awarded back to Union, I believe.
You know, I think 22 is tall enough that might not have been a terrible shot if we really elevated above our defense. That means we've really got to load our legs and rise up and make it a good, decent shot.
When you're a tall player like that, and you've been tall your entire career in the sport, and I'm not saying Trent's lazy by any stretch of the imagination, but do you stand flat-footed a lot just because you're taller than everybody else just by holding your hands up?
I think that's just a habit that develops over time, and I think maybe unintentionally most of the time. And so I think being able to understand that that's a weakness of yours and work on it.
Jones to Reed, nice finish there. And again, Jekyll and Hyde, here we are. Playing great basketball right now as Union as they're on top. 46-27, but Jones with the reach in.
And right there, we really don't need that reach. If we just stay, arm's length away, put that pressure on, make them make the mistake.
But it's good to see that is the first team foul of the half for Union, so maybe they're going to clean up their fouls this half, which is something that you don't want to give HFC anything at the stripe, that's for sure.
HFC needs to answer here to get back in this game.
Basie will set it up inside to Mason, and Mason's been their workhorse tonight for sure. Still hustling, gets his own ball back, puts it on the floor, kicks it out, and they'll set it back up. Caleb Veal over to Goad. Goad inside, back to Mason, it looks like. Yep, Mason. Mason up high to Veal. Now Veal looks around, puts it on the floor, try to figure out what he's going to do with it. Now Veal with a nice move to Goad. Goad wanted the three, but decided to put it on the floor. And a little bit of indecision there by HFC on that possession up ahead, but Davey can't get it to finish, and he'll go into the third row of the seats before he comes back.
Watch this next possession offensively for HFC, and I want you to notice their body language. You really see them starting to shy away from the defense, and that's making it hard for them to see their teammates that they need to pass to. And so we really need to get some more confidence back in HFC if they're wanting to make some buckets.
Yeah, and they were definitely all over it earlier, and there's a foul and a reach in on Caleb Veal. And there's something that we didn't see that kind of foul at all in the first half for HFC. So maybe a little frustration, maybe a little reality, and I hate to say it that way, but setting in for HFC.
That might have been more of I think maybe a fatigue foul, standing straight up and not down ready to move to, effectively guard that guy, and he just got in the way.
Basie checks out. Davis checks back in for Coach Davis and his squad. Now Davey will bark some orders. 46-27, 4 minutes remaining here in the third. Davey over to Morris. Morris up to Pierce. Pierce over to Jeremiah, and he, just lost his footing there and basically lost the basketball. Almost turned over again, but HFC will control it. And we'll see if we can pick out the body language that you were talking about earlier.
Looks like we see some more facing up to the rim.
Inside, they'll get it to Mason. Mason almost triple team there. Back outside to Veal. Veal over to Goad. Now Go. Seems like they're trying to work their offense through that side of the floor, and he gets it out of bounds. But is there plays? Seem like that's the last place you would want to run a play would be from that corner or a corner of the floor. You want to run everything from up high, basically half court to the three-point line, I would say.
You really don't want to get stuck in the corners because you see those out-of-bounds lines can play as two other defenders, and so really you get stuck, especially in that trap, and you're kind of dead in the water.
Reed with a nice recovery, and he'll get fouled and go and shoot two. Reed will go to the line and shoot two. Foul was on Josh Goad. It's 3 team fouls now for HFC and only 2 for Union. 3:01 remaining here. Reed will get the first of 2. Kenny and Renty check back in for Union as Davey and Pierce get to have a seat. Love watching Mo Rennie move up and down the floor. I think it has more to do with his hair than anything else. Jumps up and down, bounces up and down. I'm just jealous.
I'm sure you are now.
I am now for
with
sure.
That Mr. Clean Head you got going on
yes.
right now.
I just wanted to be like James Wingo and all the other Well, really, if you look at both of our head coaches, both in Coach Garcia and Coach Redmond, both of them are very clean cut.
Both of them been rocking that for a while, so I feel like they walk with some confidence.
Yeah, I just wanted to be like them, to be honest with you. There's Jeremiah, but he'll get travel. He'll get called with the travel.
Here you go, Jim. How many steps make a travel?
3.
There you go.
Thank you. I got that one.
That's half right, more than 2.
Well, okay, got it. Yeah, that's true. That's true. No, and I think what I was talking about with that Euro step, if you don't know the game well, and I didn't, and I'm still learning it between you and Casey and Andy helping me out with the game, it sure looks like 3 steps.
Yeah.
But the way you described it, because as you're leaving your second step, that's when you're releasing the ball, and that's why I think, and like you said, the NBA and what Harden does and Westbrook.
Don't even get me started.
LeBron, yeah, exactly. All right, so back to the action here. Mason turnaround jumper can't go. Jeremiah with a rebound. He'll get it up to Morris. Morris ahead to Reed. And Reed, nice little jumper, can't get it to go. 153, 152 now, 47-29, Union on top. As Warrington gets some playing time. There's a foul by Reed.
You got to feel for Caleb Veal, number 12. He's trying to facilitate, and it just looks like HFC is standing still on the perimeter. You don't see very many aggressive cuts like we were seeing in that first half.
When they're standing still like that, he just has no way to go, and he could dribble back and forth along the half-court line, and if they're not moving, he's dead in the water.
Exactly. A couple things he could do is just dribble one of his players out and create that movement himself.
Jeremiah hard to the hoop, but he'll be fouled. Davis, that's his first foul. And Coach Davis has done a really, really good job teaching his kids how to play defense and not fouling every time down the floor, as they're only at 4 team fouls overall. And we played very, very clean basketball in the first half.
You see that they're pretty consistent in that aspect, and I really like to see that our boys are still at only 3 team fouls right now.
Something that they've cleaned up quite a bit. And as you said, this is your first game watching the boys this year. It's been their MO, foul trouble in the first half and just not playing the level of basketball that they're capable of playing, I should say. So now Mason, their workhorse, as I said tonight. Nice drive there and a block. Kinney's going to get charged with a foul.
There's the aggressiveness that HFC needs. Just keep taking it to the rim and draw those fouls.
Dylan Daniels with a nice drive, the sophomore out of Oklahoma City for Coach Davis. See what kind of stroke he has there from the charity stripe. Nicely done by the young man. Caleb Veal will get to have a seat. He's getting a nice hand there from his players on the bench, because you're right, he did a lot of work. Didn't have a whole lot to work with there. Neil Kinney with the rebound. Morris will bring it up, set it up. Morris for 3, way short there, off the rim. Ball bounces around, Union gets possession. Another 3 ball, can't get that to go, and I'm not too sure why we feel the need all of a sudden to shoot the 3. Besides, it's cool. And there you go.
Rhythm is important, Jim, especially on the offensive end, and if you just have one pass and shot, you're probably not feeling it. Your feet aren't set. So that's why ball movement is going to be really important, even when you're up this far.
Yeah, but now the lead is only 16, and I say it's only 16 because there's a lot of basketball left. We've got a whole other quarter to play, and it seems like the lineup that Coach Davis has gone with now is starting to work for him maybe a little bit.
If we go back to the first quarter team that we just saw at this game, that we might be in trouble.
There you go. Nice defense there. There's a steal and an eventual foul. Boy, and all that, and Nagy's going to get charged with the foul. And I'm going to agree with the fan behind me, although Nagy's applauding because he's trying to keep himself cool. He knows he's mad about it. That's his way of not getting teed up, and that's a good job by the young man. Nagy continues to clap. Ref warning him right now that he needs to stop. Coach Garcia telling him to relax a little bit. Everybody here knows what he's doing. All right, so we'll settle down and we'll play some basketball. Now Morris. Morris will set it up here, and he'll drive, kick it out to Nagy. Nagy for three, can't get it to go. Rebound there. Threw it back up at the buzzer, didn't get it to go. 48-32. So something to talk about here, and we can talk about that after this commercial break.
For more than 50 years, Central States Orthopedics and Eastern Oklahoma Orthopedic Center have been the area's leading orthopedic and sports medicine providers. And now, we've joined forces as Advanced Orthopedics of Oklahoma. One name, one focus. Excellent orthopedic and sports medicine care. Together, we serve as the team physicians for almost every high school and university in the region. We are the area's leading expert for work-related injuries, and our surgical hospital is the only 5-star rated hospital in Tulsa. Advanced Orthopedics of Oklahoma. Come see why we're better together.
Welcome back in. As you hear Neil Diamond fading out as we fade back in. Fourth quarter action here, 48-32, Union on top of HFC. But, you know, Coach Davis has changed his lineup a little bit, and HFC is not showing any quit here. So Jones now. Up high, Aramia's now got it. Back to Jones. Jones will get it inside, try to get it to Kenny, but Mason there with a nice defensive play. Nagy with some good hands. That ball go out of bounds, but that'll be rewarded back to Union. But the hustle will not go unnoticed for HFC's Riley Banks. He was hustling all the way down the floor, just couldn't keep his fingers on it. Now Nagy. Nagy to Kenny. Kenny getting some nice playing time here. Morris now. Morris looks far side to Nagy. Nagy will drive. Can't get it finished. Might have been tipped there. Possibly coached by, again, that Mason kid's playing wonderful basketball for Davis.
You know, I'd like to see a couple more white jerseys down there offensively rebounding, getting those boards put back.
Nice ball control there. Nice ball movement by HFC.
And that's that rhythm we're talking about, and HFC has it.
Gavin Murray has got 4. Jones now inside, turnaround spin, can't go, and nobody there to rebound. But Nagy with the hustle, and the ball goes out of bounds, and it's rewarded to HFC. So Nagy now has calmed himself down a little bit, it looks like. He's going back to being that kind of pest, and I don't mean that negatively, but he's around the ball all the time, and he's got great hands trying to knock things out.
I think that adds great energy for the team. Opportunities.
Riley Banks inbound to Mason. Mason's going to go strong to the hole, and he'll get another 2. And just like that, the lead is only 12 now for Union, as I believe HFC's gone on like a 6 or an 8-0 run here. I don't teach math. That's more your department, Sarah. So.
Just science, barely.
Yeah, right on. Amen. Amen. Now Nagy's controlling it, and Coach Garcia's got a host of players getting ready to check back in. No bucket, no shot. Away from the foul, or away from the ball is the foul call, or away from the shot, excuse me, is the foul call. As Davey Pierce and A.J. Reed check back in. As it looks like Coach Garcia is going to put back in the players that he started with. Up high to Reed. Reed with the nice hands there. He'll get it over to Morris. Morris is the only player that's on the floor that didn't start for Coach Garcia's squad. Now Morris telling Jones to come more our side, but Jones, or excuse me, he'll go back inside to Pierce. Pierce blocked there, and ball's going to be out of play, and that's going to be rewarded back to Union. Great hustle there by HFC and Dylan Daniels.
That's more of the patience I want to see from this offensive team for Union. Made a couple looks, couple passes. It wasn't just a one shot and done.
Now Davey inside to Jones. Nice. Jones can't get to finish, but there's Pierce. He finally gets to jump a little bit, hangs on to it, and nicely done there. Ball's out of play, but, oh, it was rewarded to HFC. Boy, I sure thought that went off an HFC player.
We've really just got to go up stronger on the bucket.
HFC got a little momentum now. Coach Garcia will stay with the full court press, though. Back in is Veal. Inside, nice bucket. And the lead is cut to 10. And the fans for HFC come alive. There's a nice drive by Reed, but he can't get it to go. And rebound there by Mason. And the lead is only 10 with 5:23 remaining. And I think I said something early on that there's a lot of basketball left.
That's right, Jim. Looking at the third quarter stats, we were 3 for 13 field goals.
There you go. That says a lot. There's Jones with a nice hustle. He gets up, can't get it to go. And that's going to be timeout, Coach Davis. Good job there by Coach Davis calling the timeout off the scramble. And we'll take a timeout here. 5:05 remaining in the fourth. We're back in 30 seconds, live on the Union Sports Network. Welcome back to the UMAC Game 4 here on the Union side of the bracket for the Jenks Union Tournament. Thanks for joining us on the Union Sports Network alongside Sarah Blakely. I am Jim Douthit. And he picked up the ball there, and that's something, as a coach, you know you don't want your player to do in that position. He needs to leave it on the floor. There's Davey with the steal and the bucket, and oh, he can't get it to fall. How do you coach that when a player's in that position? Obviously, he has absolutely no help. You don't want him picking up that ball. How do you get that confidence to just tell him to trust and try to dribble out of it? Because if he dribbles out of it, probably going to get a foul called, and he's going to, get a foul called or get to go to the line or something like that. So
there's a lot of things that we could talk about with that situation. First off, just protecting the ball while you're dribbling. That's taking time and practice to work on your ball handling skills. But even going further than that, where are his teammates? If they notice that he is in trouble, we should be in some kind of press break. But on the defensive end, Union did a great job of making that pressure and making him pick the ball up.
There you go. Pierce charged with a foul there. And it seems like the Union team that we saw in the first quarter is starting to come back a little bit. I don't want to jinx this, but there is a travel. Gladly take that.
There's an inconsistency that you're really talking about, and how it's very an up and down, roller coaster of emotions this whole entire game.
It seems to me, though, and you were talking about body language earlier, I've tried to watch that a little bit closer. It doesn't seem like our body language has changed that much from a Union standpoint. It's just an inconsistency in play, which is kind of strange to me. And there's a travel on Jones. Garcia barking at Jediah, telling him he's a better player than that. He knows what he's doing in that point. 50-38, 4:21 remaining here in the fourth. Ball tipped out of bounds by Davey. Still be HFC's ball. So if you're wondering what's coming up tomorrow, the rest of the weekend we'll continue to broadcast the Union side of the Jenks Union Invitational. You can see all the games from this bracket. Nicely done by Davey, can't get it to finish. But all the games from the Union bracket will be right here live on the Union Sports Network. So, of course, if you're following the teams in the boys bracket, HFC, Mustang, and Edmond, Santa Fe, all those games will be here, along with our girls as well. For tournament information, you can follow us on Twitter at Union_athletics. That's Union_athletics on Twitter. Now Mason with the ball. 4:01 remaining. Nice drive, can't finish there. Rebound by Morris.
Finally getting some boards there. This is exactly what we need.
AJ inside, but Pierce can't get it to finish, but he follows, but can't get it to go again. And just as you said, there's a turnover and a little sloppy basketball on both ends. Now Jones, head to Morris. Morris there stops, takes the long three, and that's just something you don't need to do, Coach.
That's one passing shot again.
Jones, nice drive and a foul. That's going to be Mason's, Elijah Mason's, just a second. Mason leads HFC with 14 on the floor. And Jediah Jones leads all Union players with a 16. Jediah's having a really good game. The McQuarters young man checking in. And yes, he is the McQuarters of the McQuarters family that you hear all the time at Oklahoma State and everywhere else. Turnovers of 5, 7. That's indicative of what Union has been doing on both sides, causing.
Absolutely.
And Nagy, I will tell you this, when Nagy's in the game, you guarantee he's going to cause 1 or 2 turnovers easily every time he's on the floor. And so Nagy's one of those players that's just, we saw it earlier, he's a pest. His hands, small player, but he's super fast and always around the ball and always doing positive things typically to cause those turnovers. So that's what Nagy does.
Those are the fun turnovers that you really want to see in a basketball game. And the last few that we had just kind of looked like miscommunications between the teams and just throwing the ball away.
And for Union, and really even for HFC, they've got at least 9 games, according to, what the stats say. You should know where your players are, where your teammates are at this point in the season.
Exactly.
You said it earlier. We're getting ready. This is tournament time. You've only got another month, and you're talking state.
Yep.
So those are the things that got to be corrected quickly. 52-39 now with just under 3 minutes remaining here in the fourth. Mason's got 16. And he's the leading scorer for HFC. Now A.J. Reed will set it up. Now, ball control and possession time's probably key moving into this last 3 minutes of this game, correct?
Yes, and you see that HFC has picked up their aggressiveness on the defensive end, so that just means we need to be extra careful with our shots and that selection, and that is perfect right there.
McQuarters, welcome to the game, young man. He comes in and gives a little bit of a spark to this Union basketball team. Boy, Jones left his feet, and he got way up there. And although you want to be aggressive defensively, he's going to go to the line and shoot 2.
You look at that last offensive possession right there with McQuarters. We've had a couple good passes. They got that drive, looked at the kick out. He was set, his feet were ready, and then pulled the trigger.
So you get it inside, nothing there. You're going to kick it outside because it looks like HFC's collapsing to wherever that ball is. So you're going to have somebody open on the perimeter for that.
And that's where attacking the paint is going to be really important.
Air ball there. Jeremiah to Reed. Some of the fans come alive on both sides of the court. That was interesting. So Reed control here to Jones. Jones has had the hot hand for Union, and he's got 18. McQuarters back into Jones. Jones drives, dishes to Jeremiah. Jeremiah back out to Reed. Reed drives and will go to the line and shoot 2. Now 2:04 remaining. Let's beat up on our kids a little bit. No reason for Reed to take it back in. He could bring it back out, slow it down, get everybody reset, and start again. No shot clock to worry about. So
it's like you read my mind in that moment. Yes, we want to attack when we can, but if we feel that sense of, okay, I'm getting out of control, we need to now recollect as a group. And so kicking it back out like they did was perfect. He just chose to drive it back in, which luckily he drew the foul.
So Davey checks out, Jones checks out, Neil Kenny checks in, and Morenti checks back in for Union. And the lead is back to 15. Feel a little more comfortable about that, but HFC has been playing phenomenal on this. Young man that's got the ball right now has played great, but it's stolen by Reed. Reed's going to take it hard to the hole, and the nice lay-in. Got the very nice finish there. And Coach Garcia will stay with a full court press here. Reed will get charged with with a foul.
I think two words that this Union team needs to focus on is consistency and control. When they do those two items, they are a completely different team.
And it's funny you say that because Casey Jordan, who is typically sitting in your seat, has said the same thing all year long. And so to hear it now from you and for the fans that are watching, you're probably shaking your head, yeah, You're absolutely correct, Coach Blakely. So there you have it. And anybody else that happens to sit in that chair, I imagine are going to say the same thing, knowing the game like you and Casey do. So, Sarah, I got to tell you, with a minute 41, I just want to tell you this has been a pleasure for me. You have been a wonderful colleague. You were a wonderful teacher to my son, Darian, and he still talks about you all the time as the nice lay-in there by Jeremiah. You're wonderful for this district. You're wonderful with kids, and you're just a blessing to have around.
Thank you so much, Jim, for having me. You know, when you had texted me about this opportunity, I was a little unsure of it, but it turned out to be a great evening, and I had a lot of fun, and it made me miss basketball that much more.
Well, I will tell you, anytime I need somebody, you're going to be the first one I call for sure as Jeremiah gets charged with a foul. 106 now remaining, 60-43. So volleyball, let's talk quickly about volleyball. Obviously, it's not the season for it, but what do you do with the ladies now that the season's over? Hitting the weight room, you're still practicing? What's that look like for you guys?
So a lot of them are in club season right now, so that's in full swing, and so we don't want to work them too much knowing that, but we just have our athletic hour, and we have weight room at least once a week. All the other days we were doing some kind of, body weight workouts, cardio, conditioning, things like that. But, with the 8th grade center, we've got so many sports and athletics going through there that if it's cold, we're running in the hallway. If it's hot, then great.
You
we
can
go
run
outside.
in the hallways? I used to get in trouble for running in the hallways.
Just the back one between the two gyms, yeah.
Okay, got it. I was like, wow, you can run in the hallways. There's McCorders getting into a little bit.
They run in the hallway.
Okay, got it. Now, hold on, though. You do a little bit of running. Now, you told me about your CrossFit stuff that you're getting into. That's exciting. Casey, as a matter of fact, the one who sits in that chair typically, is a CrossFit instructor and belongs to not Eclipse. I'm trying to remember. I just lost my train of thought with the gym that he belongs to. CrossFit Eclipse, it is.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I trained and ran 2 halves in the last 2 years, 2 half marathons, and it just wasn't for me, and I think CrossFit's a better fit for my, athletic background.
There you go.
To have more fun throwing the weights than running 13.1 miles.
There you go. That's for sure. So coming up as we wind it down here, 60-44, Union will just kind of hang on to the basketball, I believe, and let the clock run out. Morris pretends like he's going to shoot the 3, and he'll drive the lane and get the foul. Gets the friendly roll. So let me tell you folks out there what's coming up. So Union will go on to play Edmond Santa Fe. That'll be tomorrow at 5:30. We'll start the broadcast just a few minutes before 5:30. And for HFC, they will play Mustang. That'll start tomorrow at 8:30 right here on the Union Sports Network. So tomorrow you're going to get the likes of Casey Jordan and myself. We'll come to you, and we'll actually start a little earlier than that because the girls, I believe, will play at 4. Let me check my stats. Yep. So we'll come on the air at 4 o'clock as the Union girls will take on Mustang in the semifinal game. That'll start at 4 o'clock, and then right immediately following that, it'll be the Union boys taking on Edmond Santa Fe. Tip-off at approximately 5:30 right here on the Union Sports Network. Great competition, though, by the HFC Warriors for Union tonight, and Coach Davis should be pretty proud of the effort that his kids have shown.
Oh, yeah, they definitely made Union have to stop and think about what they're doing. There wasn't really, too much of, okay, we're going to blow this game out. And so I think that was really nice to see the effort from them and them hang with the 6A class Union.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So tomorrow we're going to come on the air as we'll have the girls taking on Mustang and then the boys taking on Edmond Santa Fe. That'll be tomorrow starting at 4 o'clock, and then with the girls and the boys immediately following at 5:30. So for you HFC and Mustang fans, tomorrow your two teams will play at 8:30. That's also streaming here for free on the Union Sports Network. So for our camera crew, JC, Nick, and Sophie, our director, Andy Irwin, and of course, Sarah, I can't thank you enough for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate it, Jim.
You bet. I'm Jim Douthit. And for all of us here at Union, we wish you the finest of evenings. And tomorrow, we'll see you at 4 o'clock right here on the Union Sports Network. Good night, everybody.